love cheesecake. Cheesecake is my favorite of all time. There's nothing better than cheesecake and a cookie. Now that that's going, I'm Megan from the GWP Homestead, and welcome to my kitchen. Today is going to be a very chaotic day in the kitchen, and I'm going to take y'all along with me. And actually, I kind of thrive in this chaos, even though it stresses me out some. I have discovered, and I'll explain, me and Reagan talk about my brain as I have two sets of animals in there. So I have my squirrels and my hamsters, and they fight against each other a lot, and I can't focus sometimes. And we discovered, we came to the conclusion I have ADHD, and I do, and I'm on medication for that, and that helps a lot, and I've done so much better after getting on medication. But this is the kind of chaos my brain thrives in one way, because I get to jump from spot to spot to spot to spot. Right now, I am browning some hamburger meat and some onions for dinner tonight. I have to make rolls and a dessert for church dinner tomorrow. I also need to marinate some beef for dinner tomorrow night. So y'all are going to go along with me on this wonderful journey, and I will leave as many links to recipes as I can. The chili recipe I use is actually my father-in-law's, and fun fact, I do not eat chili. I despise it. And growing up, my mom told me, you're going to have to learn to like it, because you're going to have a husband that wants to eat chili, and you're going to have to be able to cook it. So I mean, you need to be able to eat it. And I still do not eat chili, but I can make a mean bowl of chili. I'm picky and weird, and I'm trying to raise my kids better. While that is browning, we are going to dump a lot of stuff in our crock pot. Okay. My father-in-law, when he would make chili, he would just leave the garlic cloves whole so you could pick them out. So that's how Reagan wants me to cook it. So that's what I do. And before I forget, because I try to forget all the time, a little bit of cayenne pepper, because my kids have started liking chili and I don't want to scare them away from it, so I don't try to, light them on fire. If it was Reagan just eating it, I'd light him on fire. And a dash of cumin. And I've forgotten this several times, and Reagan swears he can tell the difference when I forget it. But a dash of vinegar. Now dinner's done for the night. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to marinate dinner for tomorrow night. And I talked about this on my freezer video. This is our beef round steak tenderized. So this is a cut of meat, and they run it through a tenderizer. When I open it, you'll be able to see the lines in it. So we're going to marinate this and turn it into shish-kabobs for tomorrow night. A lot of times I will cook this with rice, fried rice and fried vegetables. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just make plain rice and bake some broccoli and call it dinner, and it's great. This does not take very long to cook on the grill, or it'll get chewy. You do typically marinate it overnight. I have just marinated it first thing in the morning and then cooked it that night at 5 or 6, and it was fine. I prefer overnight, but I also meal plan so I can plan ahead. Not everyone does that. So we're going to cut against the grain here. So you can see it's tenderized this way, so we're going to cut it this way and make little strips. Tenderized runs this way, we cut this way. And we try to just go for little inch strips. Little inch strips in there. And you can see how this would be after it's cooked, because it's cut like this, you can see how tender that would be and how it'll fall apart. All in the bag. Our marinade is pretty simple. I'm gonna dump it all straight into the bag. I buy these for my pineapple juice in this recipe. It's 6 ounces. It's supposed to be a half a cup, so this is a little over that, but it's fine. I do typically use the low sodium soy sauce, but you don't have to. I never measure garlic with my heart. The recipe also calls for fresh ginger. I never have fresh ginger, so I just use ground ginger and call it good. And that's our marinade. I do kind of squish it around, move it around. And before we cook it tomorrow, I will bring it out of the fridge for, 15-20 minutes. And then we'll shish kebab it, and then we grill it for 5 minutes. About 2 or so on each side. But I try to get out as much air as well. And if I think about it, I'll go to the fridge periodically and kind of stir everything up. But if I don't, it's not a big deal either. Now we get to move on to the fun thing, a dessert. But my butter and my cream cheese need just a little bit longer to soften. Probably because my house is kind of chilly in this part of the house. Don't even get Reagan started. They didn't put the vents in the proper places, and it's a big ordeal, and don't ask him about it. We'll be back in probably about an hour. For y'all, it'll be, well, now. So, we're going to be making my famous cookie bar that I stole off Pinterest. We'll leave a link in the description. First thing we gotta do is make a graham cracker crust. Melt my butter. So, yes, I do have a food processor, but I have to do a lot of dishes today because I'm going to constantly be reusing the same bowls, and I don't feel like washing my food processor, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. There's already sugar in here, and we're going to beat them with a hammer. And if you're not cheap as me, you can also just buy graham crackers that are already crumbled up. So I'm a big try to measure as much before I start actually doing stuff as possible. So I've already measured and put my sugar in my bowl. We're gonna add cream cheese. And this is the filling of the cookie bar. It'll go straight on top of that graham cracker crust. 2 eggs. And I've talked about my red flag before where I don't measure, so yeah. There we go. If you know anyone that's getting a KitchenAid for Christmas and you want to get them an accessory, get them a second bowl, because I'm going to have to wash this bowl like 4 times today.
I don't know about you, but that sure sounded like a hint to me.
So now we add our cream cheese to our pan. now we're going to be making the dough that will go on top of our cookie bar. So this is a graham cracker crust, cream cheese filling with cookie dough on top, and it is delicious. Our butter. This is brown sugar and white sugar, pre-measured. And we're gonna cream those together just like any basic cookie dough. Milk, egg, I love cheesecake. Cheesecake is my favorite of all time. There's nothing better than cheesecake and a cookie. And honestly, I think it's everyone else's reaction that makes me keep cooking it. Don't tell my kids, but those were their Halloween M&Ms. I may have stolen out of their buckets before they even knew they had them. The recipe calls for milk chocolate chips. I didn't buy any milk chocolate chips. I happen to have semi-sweet on hand, so that's what I'm using. I think I've used semi-sweet before. I know I've used the milk chocolate. It'll be good either way. This is kind of the messy part. I have yet to find a good way to put the cookie dough on the cheesecake without using my hands. So I'll take the cookie dough and kind of flatten it like a very flat cookie and set it and try to cover as much as the cheesecake as possible. Every time I've made this, I have a little bit of cookie dough left over, which is just fine by me. Now we're gonna put it in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes, depending on your oven. So now this is done. I don't really check it because it's a cheesecake. It's not really gonna show me much like with a toothpick. You can see the cookie dough looks done. It was a little brown around the edges. It's good. This will cool off on my stovetop until it is not gonna sweat, and then we will put it in the fridge. I like to make it the day before we plan on eating it so it has plenty of time to set up. You want a minimum of 4 hours. I prefer overnight or longer if possible. This is gonna cool and then it will go in the fridge and we will eat it tomorrow. Well, and like always, I never finish a video in one day like I need to, but it is, so I started doing all my cooking on Saturday. It is now Monday. Sunday we had dinner at church, and yeah, that's always chaotic. But I ended up not filming my rolls because my kids had to be inside when I was doing a lot of that. And I've raised truly feral farm kids, and they thrive when we can get them outside for at least a couple hours a day. And as Saturday wore on, it got a little, its temperature went up and then it kind of decreased, and they were sick of being outside. They wanted to come in, so I just didn't film it, and it's okay. I am going to make myself some lunch so I can finish filming and show y'all my cube steak shish-kabobs. And one thing about me is I can eat and live off meat alone. I prioritize protein always because sometimes I just don't eat a lot. So I always prioritize protein. So I'm just going to eat just the meat today. Shish kebab stick. We just weave them in and out. This part is very, not sticky, but We do have a Pit Boss pellet smoker, and it is amazing. And these don't need very long to cook. About 2 minutes on each side. So I'm gonna let them cook for just a minute, and then I'll flip them, and then they'll be done. Because you don't want to cook them too long because they will get chewy and dry because this is a chewier cut of meat. So here's our little shish kebabs. If I was feeding the whole family, I would cook this with fried rice or vegetables or plain rice and broccoli. A lot of times we do, even through the winter, I will buy fresh produce to eat. I still do have my canned vegetables. We do use those too. Since it's just me eating lunch today, I'm just going to eat straight meat, and that's okay. I could 100% do the carnivore diet, but I know vegetables are good for us. I also know I'm a pretty picky eater, and I've gotten better. I'm at least willing to try stuff now, but I'm also trying to raise my kids not to be as picky. So they at least get it on their plate, and they have to at least look at it. As they get a little older, they at least have to eat a bite of it. Just pulls apart. This marinated for a lot longer than I intended, but it is still good. It's going to be a little sweeter than like a hibachi style steak, but this is kind of what it reminds me of, is the hibachi style. And this is a cut of meat that, if you don't get a half a cow like us, is fairly cheap to buy because it's not a high-end cut. That is how my chaotic brain handled today and all the chaos. Everything turned out wonderful. If y'all do want to see the rolls, I don't think I've done a video on the rolls before. If I have done the rolls for on camera before, Reagan will leave a link for it. And if I haven't, let me know if y'all want to see that, and I will show that. They are sourdough. I do use potato flake sourdough. If y'all want to see some videos on that, let me know, and I will try to get some recipes and some videos of doing some of my potato flake sourdough. That is all I have for you today, guys. I'm going to sign off and then go eat my lunch, and I will see y'all in the next video. I'm Megan from the GWP Homestead. Bye.